The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Cancer Full Moon webinar, which in this case is occurring just a little bit before the actual full moon. I'm in Washington, D.C. right now, and it is 12 midnight here. And the full moon will be occurring at 2 a.m. and 39 minutes and 36 seconds. 2:39:36, which will mean 6:39:36 Greenwich Mean Time. This occasion here in Washington is really a marvelous spiritual experience. The Dalai Lama is here giving the Kala Chakra. I guess it's his 31st Kala Chakra. Some of you who are tuning in now are actually here as well. I see Leslie, I see Rick, maybe there's some others. The event is being given in the Verizon Center, where many sporting events are given. It's a huge place. It has a capacity of 16,000 people. And about 14,000 seem to be there, maybe 15,000. It's the numbers who turned out far exceeded their expectations. So the Dalai Lama is an amazing teacher. His birthday occurred on July 6th, so that was the opening day of the Kala Chakra, and the grandson of Mohandas Gandhi was there, and the son of Martin Luther King was there, and they all spoke about peace, nonviolence, and a world in union through the energy of love. It's a powerful process. So much is conducted in Tibetan, but the Dalai Lama speaks a kind of broken English, which is very colorful, and he gets his point across. He also has an expert translator with him, one of the most articulate human beings I've ever heard. He's a Tibetan, but he speaks the King's English, and so we have a wonderful representation of the subtle thought given by the Dalai Lama. We're in the middle of the initiation process for Kala Chakra, and there will be yet one more day of initiation, and then the final day where the sand mandala is deliberately deconstructed and I believe brought to the Potomac River. And the dewdrop slips into the shining sea, and all of the aggregates are returned to the great reservoir. Well, anyway, we are here in this Cancerian Sagittarian city at a Cancerian time, the time of the full moon. Very powerful time for the world and for our country here, the United States, right in its capital. We do hope that this amazing gathering of spiritual energies will have a beneficial effect, both for this country, which is in stress, great stress, and for the world by extension. We have the sign Cancer that is portrayed in the color violet, which is, interestingly, the color that Master DK gives for this sign. The creative hierarchy associated with the moon, which is the ruler of Cancer, is also ruled by the color violet, and we have the etheric body suggested, and as well the dense physical body All aspects of the personality, I think, are represented by the moon, which is the orthodox ruler we see here in the Cancer banner. And the esoteric and hierarchical rulers are both Neptune, the planet which perhaps carries the highest second ray in our entire solar system. It's sometimes been said that Neptune doesn't even belong to our solar system. It doesn't abide well with Bode's law. It seems to be in an unusual place in terms of orbital resonance. But there are other ways that we can find a place for Neptune. It seems to represent a great energy of divine love and compassion, and is the representative of the fifth liberated creative hierarchy, which we are told veils the Christ. So even though this is a very material sign in some ways and indicates the very early experience of man, it has a sublime, spiritual, oceanic meaning associated with the cosmic, physical, cosmic astral plane. The hierarchy that is representing Cancer is nearly liberated onto the cosmic astral plane, though it is still on the highest level of our cosmic physical plane. It is a bridging hierarchy. In a strange sort of way, the moon can be seen as representing the entire cosmic physical plane and also its etheric aspect, and Neptune, the cosmic astral plane. So we see this hierarchy precisely between these two planes. Here is the Jafra illustration with which many of you are familiar. The keynote, I build a lighted house and therein dwell, is certainly shown by the carapace here of the crab, and also we see the turtles, the hard external shell, which represents perhaps the difficulty that spirit has in penetrating its lower extension matter. We're looking backwards towards the previous solar system when we think of the sign Cancer. And in the first part of that solar system, Master DK tells us that Cancer was the ruler and Virgo the ruler of the second part. Interesting that both of those signs have the moon prominent. It's the ordinary ruler of Cancer and the esoteric ruler veiling a couple of planets in the sign Virgo. So we harken back to the past, the previous solar system, and the kind of third aspect energy which was generated in that solar system and which is not yet redeemed in our present solar system, and that is the major task which our solar locus is undertaking at this time, and much of it is being worked out right here on our Earth. So hence the difficulties. Humanity is very much represented by the sign Cancer. It is the sign in which the human family took incarnation as the human family. The first human incarnation was taken in Cancer in a group sense. It represents very much the lunar nature and is associated not only with the previous solar system, but with the moon chain, the lord of which I think is has been transferred into our fourth or earth chain, and we have a dual kind of program operating in our earth chain, the unfinished moon chain agenda and the present earth chain agenda, and there's quite a bit of cross-current going on there. Cancer is a sign we see associated with the claws of the crab, and with, in general, hands, and with the grasping of hands. It's so interesting in Buddhism here how the quality of detachment is supremely emphasized, and how the mistake, the human mistake of grasping, is seen as one of the great causes of misery. You're grasping at phenomena, at a relatively unreal world, and we seek to hold on to these unrealities. The lunar nature seeks to hold on to phenomena rather than deep reality. So all of us have to learn in this sign to let go of the obvious lunar nature and open ourselves sensitively to the qualities of Neptune, in which planet the solar flames are stored. The heart of the sun, the warmth of the heart, the great Buddhic and monadic Christ love is ruled by Neptune, and somehow those energies have to permeate through that very hard, resistant carapace and pervade it, melt it, dissolve it, and reach our personality nature, suffusing it with divine love and transforming it entirely into an instrument for the Christ. The moon, we know, is a dead planet, an aspect of our planetary logos, which was the scene of failure, is failure, and therefore a systemic failure as well. So many of us want to hearken back to what the moon means, but we have a solar destiny, so we have to learn to make the planets that transmit the energy supposedly transmitted by the moon, namely Vulcan, physical nature, Neptune, astral nature, and Uranus, mental nature. We have to learn to make those planets the servant of our solar angel, our soul nature, and to transform our watery nature into a sea of love. We have to convey the Buddhic quality to our astral body, and this we can do when we finally learn to cease grasping at unrealities and transform and purify our lower nature. So there are many things here in this diagram, but I think I've emphasized some of the main things. Here is perhaps Diana, one of the goddesses of the moon, who has the power to drive human beings mad if they are impure. And this gives us a very strong hint about how we have to treat our lunar nature if it is to become the true reflector of our solar luminary. Now, Francis Donald has provided us with a beautiful image, and he is very happy to make these available to you in the PDF form. We see here, I'll let Francis explain according to his own text, but we see the meditator, we see 6 pillars, we have the deep blue that suggests the ocean. The moon is rising above a very calm, reflective ocean. The crab is here. There are a certain number of steps Francis will explain. And I haven't really counted the number of notches in the pillars. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, 12. It seems to be 12. So that does reflect the zodiac. It does reflect also the the 6, which very interestingly is the number associated with the lunar lords, and 6 is the great number of form over which Cancer rules. I'll switch back and forth between Francis's text and his image. Let's see here. Yeah. So we begin with the statement that in an age-long past, a being emerged from the ocean of life, passed through the wide Cancerian gate. This is called the gate into life of those who must know death, the gate into form, and thus entered the temple known as humanity. Every creative hierarchy can be known as a temple. For eons, the moon shone through that gate, strengthening its threefold form. After an endless tide of lives, the moon began to wane, revealing a truer source shining through its dissipating veils. Thus, Neptune waxed in strength. The astral trials began, and the scarab, symbol of the soul immersed in form, unfurled its wings and began its upward migration. Now seeing the gate that leads into the spiritual kingdom, our disciple chants aloud, I build a lighted house and therein dwell. So let's look again at the image. And now the image will be described. The temple as a whole represents incarnation into physical form. The 6 indigo pillars stand for the 6th ray energy of Neptune. Their gold bases and capitals represent the 4th ray of harmony through conflict, which rules Cancer through the moon, the 4th ray moon, during the aeons long form building stage. And really the vaster part of human experience is ruled by the moon. The sun only takes over when the 5th petal is opening, and that takes a long time. Perhaps from the time the 5th petal is opening, maybe 50, 40, 30 lives remain out of the thousands of lives. So in a way, the triple lunar nature does indeed rule the progress of man for the greater share of his experience. The 3 steps stand for the physical, astral, and mental bodies. The disciple sitting at the level of the lower mental focuses on that which comes through. So let's look at that. Here are the 3 steps. And the disciple is on the lower mental vehicle, but increasingly open to the energies of the soul on the higher mental plane, and to the Buddhic energies which this great ocean, calm ocean, can also represent. The spaces between the pillars or gates grant passage into this temple of water and earth along 3 axes. The Taurus-Scorpio axis has rotated counterclockwise. The wide gate into incarnation through Cancer stands behind Capricorn, Pisces. In the future horoscope of disciples, the significant interplay of, whoops, I think we have a little, okay, let's see if we can, some strange things are happening here. Hopefully, yeah, there we go. Okay. Notice up here we do have Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, and probably Capricorn and Pisces are hidden here. We notice the Pleiades as well as we look at the heavens, and they will be reflected down into this clear surface on the altar. And Francis will describe that. So the disciple is gazing through the Capricornian gate towards us. The moon, now as esoteric ruler, illuminates the incoming phase, and that's for Virgo. The axis that begins in Virgo and leads to the ultimate victory of the watery triad in Pisces. And DK tells us this relationship is brought about by the esoteric linking of Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces, all of them either earth or water signs. In the future horoscopes of disciples, the significant interplay of forces will be recognized as dominating the chart at a particular and peculiar stage of discipleship. Well, each one has a particular meaning, of course, but perhaps as we are working before the third initiation, certain of these signs are powerful, and Capricorn and Pisces, although they can be applied before the third initiation, certainly have a powerful place at the third and fourth and even the fifth initiations. The upper dome, through the upper dome, the Pleiades, called the Eye of the Mother, illuminates the point around which our universe revolves. Well, the Pleiades are considered the hub of our wheel, the hub of our local cosmic wheel. And there is an important triangle which relates the Pleiades to the sign Cancer, and also through Venus, through which the divine love of the solar angel flows. So we're not just dealing with a material sign here, we're dealing with a sign connected with cosmic Buddhi via Neptune. The seven sisters, says Francis, hold the unfathomable key to the mystery of form. And here is a little about the scarab. The word scarab means only begotten. It's prominent in Egyptian mythology. It stands, therefore, for birth into incarnation or in relation to the aspirant for the new birth. And that's what we're interested in Cancer. We've had the birth into humanity. Eventually we will have a birth onto the cosmic astral plane via Cancer. And we will certainly be born into the Buddhic realm through the Neptunian rulership of Cancer. So there are a number of births that can occur here, and greater births that transcend the human kingdom. And this was from the Labors of Hercules. Okay? In ancient Egypt, the scarab was considered to be an embodiment of the power of transformation. Here it is depicted in flight. You'll see the wings of it in a moment, passing up from the solar plexus to the heart. Let's look at that. Here it is. The winged scarab passing upward from the solar plexus to the heart center. Neptune is one of those planets which has a connection with the solar plexus, with the heart, and with the 12-petaled major lotus in the head center. So it has a heart of the sun connection. It's connected as well, not only with the Buddhic plane and the astral plane, but with the monadic level from which a great sacrifice occurs. And a little last bit here. Having achieved this repolarization of the threefold influence of Neptune, it takes the shape of the trident, which, if you look carefully, you can just see guiding its upward path. So here is the trident. I suppose if you look very carefully, you can see that. And we are involved in the transfer of energy from the solar plexus, with which Cancer is so related, being often an emotional sign, into the great heart of divine compassion, which Neptune also rules, and finally up onto the monadic plane, which reorients us eventually towards the cosmic astral plane, where the bulk of humanity will, so to speak, travel on their path to Sirius. Okay, friends, those are some background thoughts. We all have to learn to live beyond the lunar lords, which are so compelling in their effect upon the majority of humanity at this time. And we have to make the solar angel, the soul luminary in the microcosmic sky. That will happen in Leo, but in Cancer we have to learn to reflect that solar luminary, and this we can do via the solar flames of Neptune. whose color is a deep, deep blue. If any of you have ever seen it, I should have had it up here for us to look at, but it's, of all the planets, it's the most blue, which is certainly a reflection of its second ray monad. All right, meditation. And we are very close now. We are really in the day of safeguarding, the day of receiving and holding. For many of you, it is a day. For some of us, it's the night. Receiving and holding after preparing through confidence, aspiration, and dedication the 3 previous days. And we will have as well the days of registration, the day in which a sense of expectancy is generated, and finally a positive belief that our work has been effective and it will be under the influence of this positive belief. So we begin our meditation. All of us, let's see how we're doing here. Yes, we have some 45 or 46 that are with us all over the world. Let's feel towards each other in soul. We will withdraw our consciousness from the personality, from the group personality also. We will feel ourselves established within the soul field of light, love, and spiritual power. It is as if we have one consciousness between us. We are as apertures for one consciousness. We are one seeing, one knowing, one experiencing. We are not separated by space, which doesn't really exist. We're not separated by time. We merge together into a deep sense of the group soul. And we unite in our consciousness with the spiritually minded people of the world, with men and women of goodwill, with a new group of world servants, and with all these 14,000 people here. Uniting in consciousness, and finally merging imaginatively into the one soul of humanity, realizing there is no my soul or thy soul, but only the one consciousness. The one soul present everywhere, working through all human beings, on this side of the veil or on the other, in the body, out of the body. One consciousness, human family, which of course Cancer rules. The whole is seen as one in Cancer. And the human family is perceived as one entity, one family, at all different grades and stages of expression, but one family nonetheless. We focus together on the plane of mind, At the point of tension, we call the mental unit, we draw in the will aspect of the soul, strengthening the point of tension on the mental plane, which draws upward the energies of the etheric, physical, and astral vehicle into itself, drawing in the will to initiate of the first ray, the will to unify of the second ray, the will to evolve of the third ray, the will to harmonize of the fourth, the will to act of the fifth, the will to cause of the sixth, the will to express of the seventh. According to your soul ray, draw in the nature of soul will to strengthen this point of tension on the mental plane. That point of tension strengthened from below and from above. A point of intensity on the mental plane. This is the stage of intention. And using the imaginative power of the astral body, we visualize our rainbow bridge, extending from the mental unit on the mental plane to the monastic permanent atom, into the impersonal realm of the spiritual triad, touching imaginatively the Buddhic permanent atom, the atomic permanent atom, of the color of our solar ray and the color of our personality ray. Red, ray 1, indigo, ray 2, green, ray 3, yellow, ray 4, orange, ray 5, rose or light blue, ray 6, violet, ray 7. The many strands of the group Antikarana, spiraling upward or spiraling inward, however you choose to conceive it, towards a diamond light, a blue-white diamond light. Representing our spirit nature. The multiple colors of the group Antikarana, seen cone-like towards the blue-white diamond, or spiraling inward towards the central sphere of blue-white light. And across the Antikarana, a flash of white, brilliant white light as we say to ourselves inwardly, I see the greatest light. I see the greatest light. And this is a group we inwardly repeat as we sound the Om on the second ring note. I see greatest light. And the group is open then to the spiritual will, to the sense of pure reason and divine harmony, to the abstract mind, and even to the pervasive sense of pure being coming from the monad, which we can at least imaginatively touch. This antikarana takes us into the spiritual triad area, where we are supra-personal. It is the realm where hierarchy is polarized at this time. And we think of the members of the spiritual hierarchy, the group which is gathering in meditation now, focusing a great planetary meditation. And we are as if responsive to their realm. We begin to offer our solidarity, our cooperation, our greetings, our salutations to these great energy centers, the masters of the wisdom. And we begin with the Maitreya Buddha, Christ, focused at the heart of hierarchy. We will use the second ray note. Salutations to the Christ, the Lord Maitreya, the Master of all masters, the teacher alike of angels and of men. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. They form a great unit of inspiration, Master M, Master KH, Master DK. Choosing to bring the ageless wisdom to us at great risk and against some of the better judgment of others of the masters. Salutations to the Master Moria, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. Salutations to the Master KH, the future Christ of the age of Capricorn, whose ashram is now most responsible for preparing for the reappearance of the Lord Maitreya. Salutations to the Master Joao Fu, who trains aspirants for initiation and has given us the Blue Books, the second phase of the three-part hierarchical teaching. Salutations to your own Master as you conceive him to be. Salutations to the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. Imaginatively, we turn our thought toward Shambhala, center where the will of God is known. And as our group Antakarana touches, at least imaginatively, the blue-white diamond, we can come into the sense of attuning with this great center of will and power. And with deepest reverence and in all humility, as a group, we attune with the presence of Sanat Kumara, standing at the center of Shambhala, in the center of the one fundamental school of occultism in Shambhala. The source of unfettered enlightenment, which one day will permeate all of the material spheres, redeeming them utterly. And we sound silently, inwardly, yet together, a long Om, as we imagine the group and all of the spiritually inclined people of the world, humanity as well, imbued by as much of his energy as we can withstand and assimilate properly. Under the spiritual will, the divine will and power, the wisdom, the expansive mind. We prepare to enter the indigo disk, where the consciousness of Master DK awaits us, the golden pathway toward the sun with its indigo center. And we appoint a brilliant group light, increasing. Not so much us as individuals, but points of light united in a point of group light, riding upon this golden pathway, which shortens and shortens and shortens and shortens and is absorbed into the indigo disk, the indigo sphere. Where we are together, and as if in the presence of Master DK and his consciousness, this great Master whose knowledge of the cosmological energies is profound. And as we reach together towards the planets and the constellations, we feel supported by that great understanding. And we work within his presence and under the influence of the Masters of the Wisdom. We contemplate them. We contemplate as we align with the spiritual qualities emanating from the two planetary rulers of the sign Cancer. The moon, which is the exoteric ruler veiling Vulcan, Neptune, and Uranus. Nevertheless, the moon representing the prison of the soul, a prison from which all of us must learn to escape and finally do so at the fourth initiation. And then Neptune, the esoteric ruler. The esoteric ruler. Which opens our emotional nature to the influences of love and compassion. Divine love and compassion, the ocean of love and compassion. And Neptune also is the hierarchical ruler, imbuing our consciousness with buddhi, the intuition, and also, even more deeply, the power of identification with the monad. Power of identification which the monad possesses, identification with all forms of life, conferring the realization of oneness. The whole is seen as one. So we are reaching out towards that which the moon veils, and then towards Neptune specifically, the great god symbolized by the trident and thus connected to Shiva and thus connected to the first ray. And the dissolution of the pralaya, which the first ray can bring, even as it will bring it now, with Neptune in Pisces for the next 14 years. Very sensitively reattuned. We will progress first with the exoteric ruler, the moon, specifically the mother of the form, but really Vulcan, Neptune, and Uranus behind it, conveying the most needed ability to build the form truly according to the archetype, in such a way that our form, and whatever forms we build, may prove fit to receive, contain, and radiate the light and love of the soul. Not an exiled form, but a form open and responsive to the higher energies which it can contain and which can pervade it. Vulcan, the etheric physical, Neptune, the astral body, and Uranus, the mental nature, as it is responsive and can be responsive to the occult mind of the spiritual triad. So our form receives these triple energies, and our three lunar vehicles receive a fortified etheric physical vehicle, a sensitized astral vehicle, and the brilliance, the flashes of triadal light which can enter occultly the mind under Uranus. And these three which fortify, sensitize, and render occult the lunar nature of man, we bring them in and we transmit them. We transmit them to our groups. Wherever there is a need in our groups for these three to transform the lunar nature rather than have it ruled by the prison, the imprisoning planet, we send it forth. We send forth the fortifying Vulcanian energy, the sensitizing energy for the astral body, bringing the reflected power to the astral body under Neptune, and the brilliance of Uranus we send them forth. And we envision our groups imbued with these qualities. The regeneration of the form, so that indeed it can become a lighted house. We will use the fourth ray note, E, in the color violet here, or perhaps the color of yellow, the complement for the harmonizing of the threefold, fourfold form. The note E. Each one of us fortified in our personality vehicles, so that indeed a fit form, a fit instrument is prepared. Cancer is a sign in many ways of great strength, and we need a strong yet compliant personality. Ruled by the number 4. Subservient to the fifth kingdom. We extend our thought now, still in the indigo sphere, supported by that great consciousness. We move to ponder the power of Neptune in relation to Cancer, its power to refine, sensitize, and calm the astral body, rendering it receptive to the love and compassion of the Buddhic plane. This, our most troublesome vehicle for so many of us, especially those on the second, fourth, and sixth rays. But the gift of Neptune, the gift of Varuna, power of Neptune, so important at the second initiation, when the astral body is at last subdued. It can be a pure, limpid, reflecting pool in which the higher worlds can be sensed. Neptune bringing love, compassion, divine beauty into our astral vehicle. We will feel these qualities pouring into our own astral nature, the group astral nature, the astral nature of the men and women of goodwill, so much needing and using Neptune, and the new group of world servers, and all of humanity finally. That we will extend the depth of Neptune by considering it as it one day will be for most of us, all of us really. Its transcendental power, its hierarchical ruler. And within this sensitized astral vehicle, responding to the love of Buddhi, we can all together tend to the divine presence, the presence of God. As love, the presence of God as love. Identifying with this Christ nature, the essence of our devoted monadic nature, reflecting the solar flames, the heart of the sun, the heart of life within the form, presence, divine, compassionate, all-embracing, all-solving, all-dissolving, love. Redeeming love, redeeming the form, warming the heart, melting the heart, bringing the devotion of the monad down through the Buddhic plane, the love petals into the astral body. reminding us of our loving devotion to redeem all lives in the lower worlds. The power then of salvation applied to all forms, dissolving the problem. No boundaries in love between us and any others. The barriers of separativeness dissolve, so indeed, as it is said in Cancer, the whole is seen as one. And all individuality is elevated by being dissolved into the ocean of divine love. Some slight touch of the cosmic astral plane, plane of pure love with which Cancer will soon be entirely affiliated. Divine embracing love at a time when humanity ruled by Cancer in one way so needs it. Embracing all of humanity with love. We transmit to our groups and to humanity this transcendent love, not only of the soul but of the triad, even of the monad. The deep, deep blue of the second ray transmitted. It's only natural then to raise our consciousness imaginatively to the solar Logos, with whom Neptune is so closely affiliated to the second ray, the heart of the sun, the blue Logos. Finding that Logos present in his love nature everywhere throughout the system. Nurturing and caring for, solving, dissolving. The lambent, liquid, Buddhic love. The soul Logos. That we cannot touch directly, but through many mediating Davic agencies we can receive. And into our monad and egoic lotus, into the heart. The glorious solar Logos who sets for us the pattern, the ideal of the love we will achieve one day. When we are withdrawn monadically back into the planets, back into the sun, and onward. And You then will raise consciousness at last to the constellation Cancer, so dim in a way, because it was powerful in the earlier solar system, but still very much connected with cosmic Buddhi. Pleiades, Cancer, Neptune, Venus, cosmic Buddhi. Inconceivable love, which will redeem in form. The light within the form, a diffused light of substance itself, the dark light of matter. The light awaiting stimulation coming from the soul light. When this light suffuses us, the light of the higher agencies, we can redeem the dark light. And move into the true agenda, the agenda of the divine ray in our second solar system. Repatterning the lower light so that it participates in the greater. Nothing will escape redemption. We open ourselves to the field of this energy quality of Cancer. It is a magical sign, the third ray, the seventh ray, a manifesting sign, but still connected with that fifth grade of hierarchy, veiling Christ, bringing the love energy into matter. So that all around us, all that seems so very resistant, so very backward looking, all that clings to the past, may be redeemed, and instead what will be manifested is a vessel for the greatest light and love. Thus the mantra, applying not only to our threefold, fourfold personality, but to our causal body as well. And we ponder it, ponder it. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. Each one of us responsible for doing so, and the group responsible for doing so in a group sense, and ultimately humanity responsible for that lighted house. The temple of humanity, as Francis called it. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. The Buddhists call it merit, but it is the quality accumulated in the astral, in the egoic lotus, which can radiate, which can shine, making of that egoic lotus a truly lighted house, and may it be so for each of us. And it will be reflected down into the personality. I build a lighted house. and therein dwell. Dwelling is a point of consciousness within the central fire of the jewel and the lotus, the true place where we dwell as an extension of the Mona. I dwell in this lighted house. I dwell in the lighted house of the group soul, the group egoic lotus. I, the group consciousness, centered in the central fire of the group egoic lotus, dwell within this blaze of glory. One day, humanity, united in consciousness as one being, will dwell in the central fire of the egoic lotus of humanity. And all the best of humanity will be gathered together, its value, its merit, its quality. I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. And from the fullness of that which has been gathered, we nurture humanity, we provide, we meet the needs. We enter the mother aspect, nurturing the form from the higher kingdoms. I build a lighted house. And therein dwell. I build a lighted house. Dwell therein with my brothers and sisters, with all fellow souls. Truly the Spirit dwelling within the lighted house, and carrying that lighted house to others, helping them become a light, bearing the light, sharing the light. I build a lighted house. Therein dwell. And we are so close to the full moon, just another hour and 20 minutes or so. So certainly we'll want to hold this feeling, hold this alignment, which takes us from the Pleiades to the sign or constellation Cancer. And to the solar logos, and especially then through the heart of the sun to the planet Neptune, the deep blue planet Neptune. Touching the monad, the soul, touching the fifth almost liberated creative hierarchy, touching the solar angels, descending into the heart and the head, not only of the individual, but of our group, to the group heart center. Humanity and all seen as one in a unified field, synthesized field. The descent, holding the highest and all the way to the heart, and redeeming the solar plexus as well, the solar plexus of humanity with heart energy, Buddhic energy. A vessel we build with these energies, I build a lighted house, and therein dwell. We look out into humanity. There is need. We look at the problems of humanity. There is need. We who are now imbued with this Cancerian energy, and will be even more so as the actual hour of the full moon occurs, we look for an area that will need the transmission of this lighted, embracing, whole-making, integrating Cancerian energy filled with the divine compassion of Neptune. Where can it be directed? Let us visualize. Where can it be directed? We know that with Neptune and Pisces, there will be a coming, a purification, a watery purification. There will be grief, there will be tears, there will be the compassion which arises from the shared suffering of humanity. If we have compassion in our hearts, if we are ready to embrace the human family and see it whole, if we are ready to melt the barriers that seem to separate one human being from another, one nation from another, one group or religion from another, then there will be a solution. And the lighted house of humanity will shine forth in beauty, both above and below. So let us direct this healing energy, Cancer and Neptune, into humanity with its problems on the sound of the Om. Oh. And that's to all of us, all of us. The whole is seen as one, all of us. No human being excluded, whether in the body or out of the body, all of us. Integrated, unified. One unified field, one fourth kingdom, one fourth creative hierarchy. And together then, with these redemptive ideas in mind, we will sound the great invocation, followed by three O's. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Everybody, thank you for being part of this full moon webinar. I'll have it prepared. Brett will help me get it ready for the days of distribution. But we're only an hour and 11 minutes from the actual full moon, so I trust that many of you can keep your alignment at this time and, not break it, just go right into it. So we will be meeting in meditation at that time, subjectively. Okay, I hope you have a very foundational and light creating cancerful. We will be back with you later. See you now. Bye-bye.